Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
Meet the Mets, step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kitty, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really rocking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the M-E-T-S Mets from New York town.
Hello, everybody. This is Lindsey Nelson at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, welcoming you to another doubleheader brought to you by Rheingold Extra Dry and Viceroy Cigarettes. Today, the Mets meet the Los Angeles Dodgers here at Dodger Stadium. Ralph Kiner, Bob Murphy, and I are on hand to bring you every bit of the action. This broadcast is authorized under radio rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited. Right now, manager Walter Alston has come out to home plate with his lineup. Manager Casey Stengel of the New York Mets has arrived there with the umpires, the same quartet who worked the series between the Giants and the Mets in San Francisco. So how about checking your own supply of fine, cold Rheingold, Rheingold Extra Dry? Yes, sir? Put some Rheingold on ice, because it can add a lot to your enjoyment of the game. Here is a beer with the clean, clear taste. Brisk and bright all the way through. Rheingold is beer should taste. Dry tells you why. And say, right now would be a good time to light up a Viceroy. Viceroy is not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. It's almost game time, so settle back with a tall, cold glass of Rheingold and enjoy both games of the doubleheader. It's a cloudy, overcast day here in Southern California. The Dodgers are going to call on their ace left-hander, Sandy Koufax, who has been going great with a no-hitter to his credit already this season, and his most recent outing was a 12-inning victory, while the New York Mets are going to counter with right-hander Roger Craig, who holds one victory over the Dodgers already this season. These two teams met earlier this year at the Polo Grounds in New York. The Mets won, and Roger Craig, himself a former Dodger, was credited with the victory. Now here is the starting lineup in batting order for the New York Mets. Leading off and playing center field today is Rod Canneel. Batting second and playing third base, Charlie Neal. Batting third and playing second base, Ron Hutt. Batting cleanup and playing left field, Cliff Cook. Batting fifth and playing right field, Jim Hickman. Batting sixth and playing first base, Ed Kranepool. Batting seventh and playing shortstop, Al Moran. Batting eighth and catching, Norm Sherry. Batting ninth and pitching, Roger Craig. Tim Harkness, who was injured yesterday when he turned an ankle as a base runner getting back to first on a pickoff attempt, is in uniform. He is here this afternoon. He is not in action. He said before the ball game he hopes to be able to play here on Tuesday night, as he has undergone treatment for the sprain of his right ankle. Tim said that when he went back to the base, he actually caught his foot underneath the bag and turned it, and he was taken out of the ball game yesterday. Already he had driven in 2 runs as the Mets shut out the San Francisco Giants yesterday by a score of 4-0. Here's the lineup in batting order for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Leading off and playing third base, Maury Wills. Batting second and playing second base, Jim Gilliam. Batting third and playing first base, Ron Fairley. Batting fourth and playing left field, Tommy Davis. Batting fifth and playing right field, Wally Moon. Batting sixth and catching, John Roseborough. Batting seventh and playing center field, Willie Davis. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Dick Suzuki. Batting ninth and pitching, Sandy Koufax. You'll recall that here at Dodger Stadium last year, Sandy Koufax pitched a no-hitter against the New York Mets. And early this season, he pitched the second no-hitter of his career. Apparently, he has completely recovered from the circulatory ailment that disabled him last year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have the words of the National Anthem flashed up on the message board here, and it'll be sung by the audience. So let's try to pick it up. The National Anthem played here at Dodger Stadium with the words flashed up on the message board and the audience joining in around the ballpark. Say, you know what month this is? Well, it's May, all right, but more than that, it's National Tavern Month. This is the month the brewing industry salutes tavern owners for their part in making beer truly our national beverage. So the people at Liebman Breweries would like to take this opportunity to extend their very best wishes to the thousands of taverns in the New York area who serve you refreshing Rheingold Extra Dry. You know, they'll tell you that Rheingold is beer should taste. They know that Rheingold is brewed the long, slow, costly way, brewed extra dry for a taste that's extra refreshing. So why don't you visit your neighborhood tavern and celebrate National Tavern Month with a glass or two of cold, refreshing Rheingold Extra Dry. Manager Casey Stengel of the New York Mets has shuffled his lineup and batting order here this afternoon to face Sandy Koufax, rated at this moment as perhaps the outstanding young pitcher in the major leagues. Made a complete recovery from his circulatory ailment that took him out of action at midseason last year. The Dodgers have won 4 straight games coming in here today, their longest winning streak of this season. The New York Mets come in with a victory yesterday over the San Francisco Giants as Carl Willie shut out one of the hardest hitting batting orders in baseball when he took a 4-0 victory from the Giants. Rod Cannell, playing center field today, steps in to lead off for the Mets. Koufax winds and fires, has a swing and a fly ball to center. Willie Davis, with the long stride, is over. He's there. He has room, and he makes the catch. So Rod Cannell wasted no time swinging on the first ball pitch by Sandy Koufax, and that will bring up Charlie Neal. Charlie Neal playing third base today. Charlie's batting .230. He has 8 doubles, 1 home run, and 7 runs batted in. This doubleheader today, starting a 4-game set between the Mets and the Dodgers. This is the first appearance of the New York Mets at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles this season. Koufax lets up, and it's in there for a called strike. Chris Pellicudis is the umpire behind the plate. Frank Walsh is at first base. Jocko Conlon is at second, and Ken Burkhardt is around at third. Here's a pitch swung on and chopped off foul. 2-strike count now to Charlie Neal. Koufax has won 5 games and lost 1. That pitch is low. Koufax has a lifetime record against the Mets of 3 victories and no losses. His lifetime record in the National League, 73 victories and 61 losses. Here is a pitch. It is low for a ball. 2-2. One man out and nobody on base for the Mets. Koufax looks in to get his sign from John Roseborough. Here's the pitch swung on. It's a ground ball to short. Taken by Dick Suzuki, and he plays over to Fairley in time, and he's out. 2 men out, nobody on base, and that'll bring up Ron Hunt. Hunt batting number 3 in the batting order for the first time in his major league career. He has a batting average of .305. He hit 2 home runs in the series against the San Francisco Giants. So manager Casey Stengel has put him in the power spot here, number 3 in the batting order. Hunt's the right-hand batter. Sandy Koufax with the pitch. That's in there for a called strike. Again, Koufax is set to work. Lets up inside, and it's 1-1. In his last 5 starts, Koufax has allowed only 3 runs, 20 hits, and 44 2/3 innings pitched. His Dodger Stadium record this year, 3 victories and no losses. He's been invincible here. His pitch is low for a ball. In 36 2/3 innings pitched here at Dodger Stadium this year, Koufax has allowed only 2 earned runs, so that his earned run average is 0.49 in this stadium. That's the called strike to Hunt. It's 2-2. Koufax has held opposing batters to a 149 batting average. He has 1,222 strikeouts to his career. Here's a check swing foul ball, off and out of play. It's 2-2. Koufax has struck out 10 or more batters in a game 43 times in his career, 3 times this season. That's a National League record. Here's a swing on a fly ball to right. Wally Moon is called. He settles underneath. Plenty of room waiting, and he takes it for the out. So the Mets are out in order. The top of the first with no runs on, no hits, no errors, and none left. At the end of a half inning, it's the Mets nothing, and the Dodgers coming up nothing. You know, I get asked a lot of questions about beer. I guess the one question I get asked more frequently than any other is there really a difference in beers? Well, of course there is. You see, each brewer has certain ideas about brewing. Some brewers prefer one hop to another. Some prefer one type of barley malt to another. Take Rheingold. Gathered together at the Rheingold Brewery is the largest staff of brewmasters in any major brewery. And they have very definite opinions as to how Rheingold should be brewed. They brew the extra dry way. And that's why Rheingold tastes different from other beers. The extra dry way is a long, slow, and costlier way, but Rheingold's brewers felt this is the only way to brew beer as beer should taste. That's why Rheingold Extra Dry has a flavor that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. But look, prove it to yourself that there is a difference in beers. Next time, enjoy a tall, cool, refreshing glass of Rheingold Extra Dry and discover the difference Extra Dry brewing makes. We're going to the bottom half of the first inning. The Los Angeles Dodgers will send up Maury Wills, Jim Gilliam, and Ron Fairley to face right-hander Roger Craig. Craig is 32 years of age. He has a record this season of 2 victories and 5 losses. One of those victories was over the Los Angeles Dodgers in New York. Roger's lifetime record against the Dodgers is 1-4. His lifetime record in the National League, 61 victories, 67 losses. Makes his off-season home now in Lakewood, California, in the Los Angeles area. So here is Maury Wills up, a switch hitter. He's batting left here. Charlie Neal in on the edge of the grass at third against Wills. And the lineups were introduced. All of the former Dodgers got appreciative rounds of applause here today. Here's the ball bunted, and Roger Craig is over up with it, flips underhand in time, and Wills is out by a good 15 feet at first base. Murray Wills trying to drag the ball past Roger Craig, but Craig fielded it and tossed underhand. So there's one away, and Jim Gilliam is coming up. Jim Gilliam playing second base. The Dodgers, of course, have discovered that they do have an infield problem, and they have been trying to solve the problem of who's going to play second and who is going to play third base. Jim Gilliam has a 14-game batting streak going from May 3rd. That pitch is low for a ball. That raised his average from 167 to 311. It's the longest streak of any Dodger this year. One man out and nobody on base. Ron Fairley is swinging bats on deck. Here's a pitch inside for a ball. 2-0 is the count to Jim Gilliam. He's a switch hitter also, and he bats left against right-hander Roger Craig. And against him also, Neal is in on the edge of the grass at third. Pitch is low for a ball. 3-0 to Jim Gilliam. The warning track and the skin portion of the infield is a bright red color here at Dodger Stadium. President Walter O'Malley had rock crushed and spread out there in the offseason, had the infield done over completely. Pitch is high for ball 4, and Jim Gilliam goes down to first with the base on balls. The Dodgers get their first base runner, and Ron Fairley is coming up. Ron is batting .341. He has 8 doubles, 4 home runs, and 29 runs batted in. One man out, and a runner at first base. Bill Skowron has been having his troubles at the plate. He has a batting average of .247 thus far this season. Pitch is low for a ball. It's likely that Skowron will be in the Dodger batting order against Al Jackson in the second game. Ron Fairley swinging the bat as he waits. Jim Gilliam leads off the bag at first. Ed Cranepool holding against the runner. Here's a swing and a drive down the right field line, and it's going to be a fair ball. Jim Hickman over, can't handle it. It's off the wall. Coming on to third is Gilliam, and he is being held up. Moving to second is Ron Fairley. Runners at second and third for the Dodgers. Scored as a single and an error on Jim Hickman. A single for Fairley and an error on Hickman playing right field. He came down the line, bobbled it over against the low wire fence, allowing runners to take an extra base. So with one man out, Tommy Davis is coming up with a batting average of .256. He has 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 13 runs batted in. Led the major leagues at the plate last year. The Dodgers tried this year to move him in there and make a third baseman out of him, but the experiment did not work out, so they have moved him back to the outfield. Dodgers, of course, have Gilliam at second, and they are playing Dick Suzuki at shortstop these days, and they've moved Maury Wills to third base. Here's Davis up, right-hand batter. The Dodgers have 2 runners in scoring position here in the bottom half of the first inning. Roger Craig takes a look around his outfield. The defense is shading Davis toward left. Cloudy and overcast here in Los Angeles today. Craig with the pitch, and it's inside for ball 1. Wally Moon swings bat on deck now. Gilliam leads down the line at third. Fairley leads off the bag at second. And here's the pitch. It's in there for a called strike. 1-1. Dodger fans trying to get a little rhythmic applause started here. Now Craig with the pitching motion. Swung on and has a drive deep to left field, and going back in left center is Keneal. He makes the catch. Gilliam tags. He'll score easily. No play on him at the plate as he comes across. Scored a sacrifice fly and a run batted in for Davis on the long fly ball to left center field, taken by Keneal. And the Dodgers are out in front by a score of 1-0 as Jim Gilliam tagged and scored after the catch. With 2 men out and Fairley holding at second, it is Wally Moon coming up, left-hand batter. Moon is batting .304 with 1 home run and 9 runs batted in. John Roseborough moves up on deck. His pitch is outside for ball. Mets with an infield today of Ed Kranepool at first, Ron Hunt at second, Al Moran at short, and Charlie Neal at third. Cliff Cook in left field, Rod Keneal in center field, Jim Hickman in right field. Swinging a ground ball, a little number down towards first. Craig is over, fields it, and steps on the bag himself ahead of Moon. So Moon is grounded out to the pitcher unassisted as Roger Craig fielded the ground ball, was near the bag, and just stepped on it himself. In the bottom of the first, the Dodgers got 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error committed by the Mets, and there was 1 Dodger left. So at the end of an inning, it's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. New York Mets have an off day tomorrow. Meet the Dodgers here Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Thursday's a travel day. They play the Cardinals Friday night in St. Louis, Saturday afternoon in St. Louis, a doubleheader next Sunday in St. Louis. Then the Mets come home to the Polo Grounds on Tuesday night, May 28th, to take on the Chicago Cubs. And then the Cubs will be in for the big Memorial Day doubleheader at the Polo Grounds on May 30th. Cubs, of course, have been going great this year. Ernie Banks, Ron Santo, Bob Bue, Larry Jackson, Andre Rogers and company. So it'd be a good idea to get your tickets right now for the big holiday doubleheader and for the entire Cubs series. Pittsburgh Pirates will be in on Friday night, May 31st, Saturday, June 1st, and Sunday, June 2nd for a doubleheader. Pirates, of course, bringing in Roberto Clemente, Bob Friend, Roy Faith, Bill Mazeroski, Bob Bailey. It'll be the first trip in for the Cubs and for the Pirates. Tickets are on sale at the advanced ticket window at the Polo Grounds. Met ticket office at Grand Central, the Met ticket office at Pennsylvania Station. You can make ticket reservations at any of the Howard Clothes stores in the metropolitan area, or if you want to order tickets by mail, the address is Ticket Manager, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. Here's Cliff Cook up. Sandy Koufax with a pitch that's low for ball 1. Cliff Cook batting in the cleanup spot, hitting 137. He has 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. Swinging and a miss. 1-1. Manager Casey Stengel getting 8 right-hand batters into his batting order against the left-handed Koufax. That fastball is in there. It's 1-2. Only left-hander in the Met batting order is Ed Kranepool, the first baseman. Here's a swing and a miss. So Cliff Cook is out swinging. That is the first strikeout for Koufax. He has retired 4 batters in a row and will bring up Jim Hickman. Hickman is hitting .252 with 5 doubles, 2 triples, 5 home runs, and 23 runs batted in. Check swing, foul ball, backing out of play. You know, various pitchers have various philosophies about the job they do. There are many pitchers who feel that if they have mediocre ability, they just go out to try to win the ball game and are not greatly disturbed by anything that happens if they can get the win. Here's the pitch high. Koufax says he goes out to pitch a perfect game in every game that he goes out for. And of course, he has chalked up 2 no-hitters. One and 1 is the count to Jim Hickman. This pitch is low for a ball. Pitch is swung on and has a fly ball to right that is bringing Wally Moon in, and he's there now, and he's waiting, and he makes the catch. So Jim Hickman has slid to right, 2 away, nobody on for the Mets, and left-hand batter Ed Kranepool is coming up. This young man's hitting .224 with 7 doubles, 2 triples, 1 home run, and 7 runs batted in. Starting play today in the National League, the Dodgers, of course, are on, the Giants, of course, are on top. The Dodgers just 2 games back. Dodgers picked up a full game yesterday when they won, and the Mets were defeating the Giants. It's just tied for a ball. 1-0 to Kranepool. And that's in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Koufax, of course, was born in Brooklyn. Here's a swing and a foul ball. It's 1-2. Was troubled a great deal early in his career with the problem of control, but that's one that he seems to have mastered as he has developed one of the major league's outstanding hurlers. He's 27 years of age right now. Here's the 1-2 pitch. They sail way inside, driving Craneville out of the batter's box. 2-2. That's a breaking ball that didn't break much. 2 men out, nobody on base. This pitch is fired high and away, and it's out full now. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Koufax pitched his no-hitter this season against the San Francisco Giants and retired the first 22 men he faced. There's a swing and a foul ball back. It's out of play. Count holds full at 3-2. So it was against one of the most powerful batting orders in the major leagues that Sandy Koufax pitched perfect baseball for 22 innings. In that game, he finally walked 2 and struck out 4, winning it by a score of 8-0. Swing and a drive foul down the left field line, going into the lower stands and out of play. Count holds full to Craneville. In the American League, in the first game of a doubleheader, the Red Sox have defeated the Kansas City A's by a score of 7-3. Billy Mombo kept the winner, and Wickersham the loser. Malzone hit 2 home runs for the Red Sox. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Craneville. Swung on and sliced down the left field line, again foul, going into the lower seats and out of play. In the American League, the Baltimore Orioles have defeated the Chicago White Sox 4-3. Robin Roberts got the victory. Juan Pizarro took the loss. Joe Gaines and Pete Ward homered in the ballgame. We'll try to keep you posted on the results of other games being played around the major leagues throughout the day. A payoff pitch, lit up, swung on, and popped up. Right up over the plate, going out into foul territory is John Roseboro. He calls, and the catcher takes it out toward the mound. So again, the Mets are out in order in the top of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. At the end of an inning and a half, it's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. As we go to the bottom half of the second inning, the Dodgers will send up their catcher, John Roseboro. They're batting him number 6 in the batting order today. Roseboro is hitting .254 with 2 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, and 15 runs batted in. Facing Roger Craig. Joe Becker coaching at first base for the Dodgers, and Leo DeRocher is on the coaching lines at third base. Roger Craig starts the motion. Breaking ball is swung on and missed for strike 1. Willie Davis has moved up to the on-deck spot now. Charlie Neal is even with the edge of the grass at third base. Here's a pitch swung on, and it's a foul ball coming back out of play. 2-strike count to John Roseboro. And with 2 strikes on Charlie Neal, he retreats to a normal depth at third base. Craig starts the motion to the left-hand batter. Swung on and missed. He struck him out, and Roger Craig gets his first strikeout of the afternoon. 1 away, nobody on base, and that'll bring up Willie Davis. Willie's a left-hand batting speedster, hitting an even 200 right now with 6 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, and 15 runs batted in. Again, Charlie Neal comes in on the edge of the grass against the speed of Davis, and here is a pitch that's in there for a called strike. Dodgers have won 21 games and lost 16. Mets have won 16 games and lost 21. Here's a pitch swung on. It's a foul ball off the line at third. Neal can't get to it. It's behind the dugout, 2 rows deep in the stands. It's a 2-strike count now to Willie Davis. You'll recall that recently here at Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers swept the series from the San Francisco Giants. And including the game yesterday, which the Dodgers defeated the Pirates 6-4. They swept the series from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pitch is swung on and line to Hunt at second, makes a great catch, and he's out. Ron Hunt moving to his left. Steered the line drive, and there's 2 men out, nobody on base, and shortstop Dick Suzuki's coming up. He's hitting .227. He's been up 44 times and has 10 hits. He's batted in 3 runs. Say, right now, why not open up or order up a cold glass of Rheingold Extra Dry? That's beer as beer should taste. Suzuki's right-hand batter. Roger Craig starts the motion, and it's in there for a called strike. In juggling their infield, Dodgers decided they would move Maury Wills, who was the most valuable player in the league last year, from shortstop over to third base and try Suzuki at short. Pitches high and away for a ball, putting the veteran Jim Gilliam at second base. As the Dodgers admittedly have infield problems. Craig starts the motion and the 1-1 pitch. And it's low for ball. It's 2-1. Of course, Casey Stengel was swamped by the Los Angeles baseball writers, as is usual. Here is a pitch in there for a called strike. It's 2-2. In New York, the Los Angeles Angels have defeated the New York Yankees by a score of 6-2 as McBride is the winner. Here's a swing and a drive into left field for a base hit. One hopped out there by Cliff Cook. He plays it back in, and Dick Suzuki comes up with a single to left with 2 men out. That is the second hit off Roger Craig, and will bring up Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax is coming up. We had started to say Ken McBride was the winning pitcher for the Angels, and Whitey Ford was the loser today for the Yankees. Home runs by Pearson and Terry in that ballgame. That's the first game of a doubleheader. Cleveland Indians defeated the Minnesota Twins 6-4 in the first game of a doubleheader. Ramos the winner and Sigmund the loser. Homers by Versailles, Hall, and Batty in that ballgame. Koufax batting right, and the pitch is in there for a called strike. Suzuki on at first, 2 men out, the Dodgers leading by a score of 1-0. President George Weiss of the New York Mets flew in from New York and is on hand for this series between the Mets and the Dodgers. Here is a swing and a miss. Mrs. Casey Stengel, Edna Stengel, is also in the Met club box here this afternoon. The Stengels make their home in nearby Glendale. And also down there as a guest is veteran actor Bill Farley, who has also been extremely active in baseball matters. Here is a swing and a ground ball to second base. Hunt will have to play it in a hurry. He does in time. Sandy Koufax has grounded out second to first. In the bottom half of the second inning, Los Angeles Dodgers get no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. And at the end of 2, it's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. Well, before the ball game, the Mets fight song was played here, and they're going to play it right now, I think, with the words up on the message board, and we're going to try to pick it up. Meet the Mets is flashed up on the message board right now, and let's see if we can pick it up. Here it goes. People joining in because that's the first time they've seen those lyrics. If you'd like a record of that song, Meet the Mets, send $1. The Met official song, Polo Grounds, New York, 39 New York. There's a vocal with it and another version that's strictly instrumental. Right now we're going to the third inning, and coming in here is the Californian, Ralph Kiner.
Thank you, Lindsay. Hi there, everybody, and we're all set to go here. The first man up against Sandy Koufax is Al Moran. He fouls the first pitch back in the screen. Well, Meet the Mets now being officially recognized in Los Angeles. That song certainly can catch on. It's very popular. Now the pitch back to Moran. It's fouled down in the dirt for strike two. Moran batting 189. He has no home runs. He has driven in 4 runs. So far, Koufax has retired 6 in a row. He comes back with a big curve, got him swinging. Sandy Koufax with one of the best curveballs that you'll ever see in baseball, striking out Al Moran. That is strikeout number 2. And with 1 out, the batter will be Norm Sherry. Sherry batting 116, very popular here in Los Angeles. He was a catcher for the Dodgers last year here. His brother, Larry Sherry, still on the Dodger pitching staff. First pitch to Norm is swung on a miss for strike 1. Larry, so far this year, is 0-2. He has been in 6 ball games. Norm was born in New York City. There's a fly ball hit the right center. A long run for Willie Davis. He moves over and he makes the catch. 2 men out. Well, you can get a lot of arguments in baseball about who is the fastest man in baseball. But all the money right here in L.A. would go on the center fielder, Willie Davis. We had a long discussion with Duke Snyder about whether Willie Davis was faster than Beta Pinson of the Cincinnati Reds, and Duke said there is no doubt about it. Willie would take him all the way. Willie Davis in high school, a great track star, and he was being touted as an Olympic sprinter. So Willie Davis picks up the second out, and the batter coming on is Roger Craig. 8 in a row now for Sandy Koufax, and he misses with his first pitch for ball 1. Roger looking for his first hit of the 1963 season. He is 0 for 20. Sandy Koufax, his opposition, not much better. Sandy has 1 for 18. Here's the pitch back. It's low for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Now it's Koufax with a fastball. It's over. Strike 1. Count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Koufax off to a fine start. He has a record of 5 wins and 1 loss. And the fastball is low for ball 3. And Sandy now has gone to 3-1 on Roger Craig. Koufax last year led the National League in earned run average. Here's his 3-1 pitch. Strike called on the outside corner. So Sandy has gone down the line. 3 balls and 2 strikes here with 2 men out in the top of the third. The Dodgers lead 1-0. And he misses for ball 4, and Koufax was on his way to the dugout. He thought the pitch was on the outside corner. Craig walks, the first base runner in the ball game for the Mets. And with 2 out, Rod Cannell will come up. Rod batting for the second time, flied out to center field on the very first pitch thrown in the ball game. Rod batting .235. And he tries to bunt a curveball, misses for strike 1. Playing at third base for the Dodgers, Maury Wills. Shortstop is Dick Suzuki. The second baseman is Jim Gilliam. At first base, Ron Fairley. In the outfield, Tommy Davis in left field, Willie Davis in center field, and Wally Moon in right. Now the pitch back to Cannell. It's a little bit low, a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers scoring the only run of the ball game in the bottom half of the first. Koufax now sets quietly and comes back to the plate, and he catches on the outside corner for strike 2. A late call by Chris Pellicudis, the home plate umpire. Pitch right on the outside corner. Cannell, a right-hand batter. Now the pitch back, a curve, and he got him swinging. That time Cannell swung at a curveball below his knees. He was completely fooled. Strikeout number 3 in the ball game to retire the side for Sandy Koufax. In the inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, and 1 man left on. And the score at the end of 2 1/2 innings of play, the Dodgers won, the New York Mets nothing. Well, once again, let's see how you do with another Rheingold riddle. This time, runners on first and second. Batter, Wally singles into left field. The first runner rounds third and is caught in a rundown. Now the catcher throws wildly into left field. Now the runner trips and falls before crossing home plate. The second runner comes along, helps him to his feet and across the plate. What would you rule? Do both runners score, or is the second runner out for helping the first? Think about that for a minute. Well, they're both safe. It's perfectly legal for one runner to help another. It's only when a coach or non-runner helps that the play is illegal. After that Rheingold riddle, how about a glass of Rheingold Extra Dry? Here's beer as beer should taste. Crisp and bright and clean, clear through. Yes, Rheingold beer is so refreshing that first class just sort of invites you to have another. But why don't you find that out for yourself? Enjoy Rheingold Extra Dry along with us. Moving to the bottom half of the third, the score 1-0. The Dodgers lead. The first man up for L.A. will be Maury Wills. Maury tried to beat out a bunt his first time up. He's batting from the left-hand side against Roger Craig. Roger picked up the bunt attempt and threw Wills out, so he is 0 for 1. Wills batting .273 this year. So far, he's stolen 11 bases. He leads the club. Willie Davis, who was second in the National League and in the Major Leagues in stolen bases, has stolen 7 so far this year. And the first pitch to Maury Wills is low for ball 1. Right after Maury Wills bats, we'll pause for station identification. Charlie Neal at third base, right on top of the left-hand batter. And there's a fastball by Craig. It's over for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Neal only about 70 feet away from Maury Wills, defending against a possible push bunt. Wills with not too much power. Pitch back is bounced to second base. Ron Hunt takes a high bounce, throws the first in down. Time. That ball took a very high bounce. Now we'll take this opportunity to pause for station identification.
WGY Schenectady, 810 on your dial. The temperature, 77 degrees.
Ralph Geiner along with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy from Los Angeles, California. Right here, the score 1-0. 1 out in the bottom of the third inning. Dodgers batting with Jim Gilliam up. Jim has scored the only run of the ball game. He walked and scored on the sacrifice fly from third base by Tommy Davis. Gilliam, a switch hitter, batting from the left-hand side, and he has a strike call on a bunt attempt. Gilliam trying to drag the ball on down to the second baseman, missing the ball completely. Gilliam batting .311. He has hit 1 home run, driven in 10. Now Craig in the windup and back to the plate, and there's a bouncing ball down to the first baseman, Ed Kranepool. He picks it up. Motions to Craig to stay away, and he made the play himself. 2 up and 2 down, and Ron Fairley comes up. Ron singled his first time up, and on the play, when Jim Hickman booted the ball down the line, he went to second base. He has 1 of 2 hits given up by Roger Craig. Fairley batting .346. A left-hand batter, and the first pitch to him. He bounced to the first baseman, Kranepool. An easy chance. He takes the second hop, and that does it. 3 up and 3 down for Roger here in the bottom half of the third inning. And the score, the Dodgers 1, the New York Mets 0. Well, the Dodgers will be back in the Polo Grounds on Wednesday night, July 10th. That's a makeup game. It's not on your original schedule, so if you haven't marked it in, it'd be a good idea to do so you won't miss this one. Dodgers will also play on Thursday night, July 11th, Friday night, July 12th, and Saturday afternoon, July 13th. That Saturday afternoon game is Ladies' Day. After the Dodgers leave town, another big series coming up, the Giants in the Polo Grounds on Wednesday night, July 17th, and Thursday night, July 18th. So, in order to beat the crowd and to get your choice of seats, it would be a good idea to pick up your tickets very early. Ticket locations downtown at Grand Central Station, also downtown at Pennsylvania Station, and the ticket office located at the Polo Grounds is open today, 7 days a week. That's on the 8th Avenue side, the advanced reservation window. You may make ticket reservations at any of the Howard Clothes stores in the metropolitan area, and you can mail in for your ticket, box seats at $3.50, reserve seats $2.50. Simply write Ticket Manager, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York, and enclose an additional 25 cents to take care of the mailing charges. We move now to the top of the fourth as Sandy Koufax starts to work, and the first pitch to Charlie Neal is outside for ball one, a fastball. Neal batting .228. Now Koufax comes back to the plate, and there's a bouncing ball to the second baseman. Junior Gilliam picks it up, throws the first in time for out number one. That ball was hit just to the left of Koufax. Gilliam had to move to his right quickly to get in front of the ball to make the play. So Koufax now has put only one man on through 3 1/3 innings. That was Roger Craig. He reached on a walk. Dodgers lead 1-0, and Ron Hunt now steps in. Ron flied out to right field his first time up. He's batting .302. And he moves up the line to bunt, but takes a curveball low for ball one. Koufax, big, strong left-hander, looking for the sign. He gets it. Thompson comes back to Hunt with a curve. It's high for ball two. Here's the final score. Dick Ellsworth has won another one for the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs defeated Milwaukee 3-2. They beat Lou Burdett, and Hank Aaron picked up another home run. He had a grand slammer yesterday to help Milwaukee win a ball game. Right here for a losing cause, he had a home run in the eighth with one on. Here's the pitch back to Hunt. It's a strike call. 2 balls and 1 strike. Aaron leading the major leagues in home runs. Here's the pitch back. It's outside for ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. At home run number 13 for Big Hank. Cubs will open up the Mets homestand when they come in on May 28th. The Mets returning to play a long homestand in the Polo Grounds. Here's the pitch to Hunt. It's fouled away for strike 2. They'll play a night game on the 28th and then have a day off the 29th, getting ready for the big Memorial Day doubleheader on the 30th. Mets have played the Cubs twice so far this year. They have won both games, but the Cubs have been one of the real surprises in the National League. They are now tied for third with their win, 3.5 games back of the San Francisco Giants. There's the ball hit the right center. It could drop in. Coming fast is Moon, and it drops in front of him. A base hit. So Ron Hunt picks up the first base hit of the ball game here in the 4th inning with 1 out. Sandy Koufax had given up no hits so far until Hunt looped a line drive into right center field. Mets now with their second base runner. Roger Craig had reached before in a walk, and the batter will be Cliff Cook. First pitch to Cliff is a hit-and-run play, and the ball's hit in the air to shallow right field. Moon with a slow start, now charges. Hunt has to hustle back to first after the catch. Ron had held at the midway point between first and second when he thought the ball might drop in. Moon had a very late start of the ball, but he did get to it. 2 men out as Cook goes down, and Jim Hickman now comes in. Jim had flied out to right field in his one attempt. He's batting .252. He leads the club in runs batted in with 23. Dodgers lead 1-0. They have 2 hits. The Mets have only 1 base hit. Now Koufax comes to the plate with a curve. It's over for strike 1. A throw to first, a lob throw by Roseboro. Hunt back easily. Sandy Koufax sets right at the belt and comes to the plate again, and the fastball is fouled away. That time he had the fastball by Jim Hickman. So it's strike 2. The difference in speed between Koufax's curveball and his fastball is very, very, very big. That is what makes him so effective. Curveball, a big breaking curve, one of the best in baseball, and of course his fastball as fast as just about anyone you can name. pitch is very similar to Bob Feller, except that he does throw left-handed. Feller was a right-hand thrower. Feller with a great fastball and a great curve, one of the best curves that anyone ever had in baseball. Now Koufax set again. Ron Hunt at first base, 2 out. And the pitch to Hickman is just inside. A fastball, letter high for ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Koufax again sets and comes back to the plate. A pitch out. Hunt was not running. It's ball 2. Koufax, quite a bit like a pitcher by the name of Max Lanier, who pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals. Lanier had an outstanding fastball and a great big curve. Now here's the 2-2 pitch to Hickman. The curve, it misses for ball 3. Jim was just about ready to go, and the ball broke inside. So it's a full count. We'll see Ron Hunt move in the pitch. 2 men out. The score 1-0. The Dodgers lead. Koufax to the plate. There's a drive to left field. Moving over, Tommy Davis, and he makes the catch. That ball was well hit to left field, but Tommy Davis was right there, and that retires the side. In the inning for the Mets, no runs on 1 hit, no errors. 1 man left in the score. At the end of 3 1/2 innings of play, the Dodgers won. The New York Mets nothing. The Dodgers have for the 4th inning coming up. They lead 1-0. And leading off for the Dodgers will be Tommy Davis. Roger Craig going for the Mets. He holds the only win that the Mets have over the Dodgers. He won that game in the Polo Grounds. Roger has a lifetime record against the Dodgers of 1 win and 4 losses. Pitching to Tommy Davis for the 2nd time, and the first pitch is just outside for ball 1. Tommy has accounted for the only run in the ball game when he flied to center field, a sacrifice fly that scored Jim Gilliam from third base. Davis off to a slow start, batting at .256. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. Tommy last year, a great season. Now the right-hand batter with a 1-1 pitch, a swing, a foul tip. Held on to by Norm Sherry. Strike 2. Tommy Davis became only the 3rd player in Major League history, should say National League history, to drive in more runs in one season than 150. There's a ground ball hit down to 3rd. Charlie Neal picks it up, throws to first in time for out number 1. Of course, the top Major League record for runs batted in held by a National Leaguer, Hack Wilson. He drove in 190 one year. Chuck Klein drove in 159, also 170 one year. Lucky Medwick drove in 154. Last year, Tommy Davis drove in 153. Here's the first pitch to Wally Moon. It's low for ball 1. Moon grounded back to the pitcher Roger Craig, his first time up. There's a fly ball hit the left. Ranging to his right is Cliff Cook. He pulls it down for out number 2. So Roger, who worked the 3rd inning, 1-2-3, now has a chance right here in the bottom of the 4th to work 1-2-3. He has the first 2, and he'll be pitching to John Roseboro. The Dodgers lead 1-0. Say, I hope you're enjoying today's doubleheader. I know you'll enjoy Viceroy cigarettes, because Viceroy's got the taste that's right. John Roseboro, left-hand batter. He struck out his first time up, and the first pitch by Roger Craig is taken high, a fastball for ball 1. Roseboro batting .252. Charlie Neal even with the bag at 3rd. Here's the pitch back to the plate. It's high. It's a change of pace. 2 balls and no strikes. Now the right-hander comes back again, and again he's high for ball 3. And Norm Sherry walks out in front of the plate before returning the ball to Roger Craig. Roger living about 25 miles from this ballpark in Linwood, California, right next to Long Beach. It's Long Beach Day here at Dodger Stadium. Now the pitch back to John Roseboro. It's in there for a strike call. Little applause here in the stands when they see the score flashed in the board in left center. The Phils are leading San Francisco 2-0 in the eighth inning. Roseboro looks at the fastball on the outside corner, and the count now fills out to 3-2. Dodgers leading the St. Louis Cardinals by 1.5 games in second place. There's a drive foul down the right field line. The count holding at 3-2. Giants, of course, on top by 2 over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mets helping the Dodger cause by knocking off the Giants 4-0 yesterday. A 3-hitter by Carl Willie. Dodgers have been red hot. They've won 4 straight, 9 of their last 11 games. Here's Roger back to Roseboro. There's a high pop-up down the first base side. Ed Kranepool in foul territory, waiting, and he makes the catch to retire the side. So Roger now has retired 7 straight, 1, 2, 3 here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And the score at the end of 4. The Dodgers won, the New York Mets nothing. And now to bring you up to date on all the scores, here is Lindsey Nelson.
Thanks very much, Ralph Kiner. In the National League, first game of a doubleheader, the Chicago Cubs defeated the Milwaukee Braves 3-2. The winner was Dick Ellsworth, who went all the way. Lou Burdett started. Took the loss to Milwaukee, relieved by Fisher in the first inning, Cloninger in the 5th, Snyder in the 7th, Raymond in the 8th. Henry Aaron hit his 13th home run of the season in the 8th inning with 1 man on. The Pittsburgh Pirates are playing the Houston Colt 45s in a single game this afternoon in Texas. It'll be Bob Friend against Dick Farrell. At the end of 5 innings of play, the Cincinnati Reds 5, the St. Louis Cardinals 4, Joe Duxall against Bob Gibson. And in the first game of a doubleheader, the end of 7.5 innings of play, the Phillies 2, the San Francisco Giants nothing. Cal McLeish has the Giants shut out up to this point. Jack Fisher is pitching for the Giants. In the American League, the Los Angeles Angels defeated the Yankees in New York by a score of 6-2. Ken McBride, the winner, going all the way. Whitey Ford started, took the loss for the Yanks. Bridges in the 6th, Kunkel in the 8th. Pearson and Perry homered in the ball game for the Angels. That's the first game of a doubleheader. Detroit Tigers 5, the Washington Senators 1. Bill Fall all the way for the victory. Dave Stenhouse took the loss. K-Line homered in the 5th with 1 on. First game of a doubleheader, Cleveland 6, Minnesota 4. Ramos the winner, Stigman the loser. For Silas Hall and Batty homered. In the second game, it's going to be Rowland against Grant. Right now, Ed Kranepool steps in to face Koufax, and the pitch is in there for a called strike. The Boston Red Sox in the first game of a doubleheader defeated the Athletics 7-3. Monboquet, the winner, Wickersham the loser, Malzone with 2 home runs. Curveball is hit right back to the mound. A comebacker fielded by Koufax tosses over to Fairley in time. Kranepool has grounded out. There's 1 away. Shortstop Al Moran is coming up. He has been up 1 time, and he struck out swinging. The Baltimore Orioles defeated the Chicago White Sox in the first game of a doubleheader 4-3. Robin Roberts all the way for the victory. Juan Pizarro the loser. Joe Gaines and Pete Ward homered in the game. In the second game, it's going to be Ray Herbert against Mike McCormick. This pitch is low for a ball. Right here at Dodger Stadium, it's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. 1 man out, nobody on base. Koufax with the pitch, let up high, and it's 2 balls. Dodgers got their run in the bottom half of the first inning. Tommy Davis with the sacrifice fly brought Jim Gilliam in after the catch from third, and here is the pitch. In there for a called strike. 2-1 now to Al Moran. This is the first game of a doubleheader. We'll have a lot of baseball coming your way, so we invite you to stick around with us. Here's a swing and a miss. It's 2-2. In the second game of today's twin bill, Pete Rickard is going to pitch for the Dodgers, and Al Jackson will pitch for the New York Mets. Casey Singles on the second step of the dugout. Here's a swing and a high pop foul back at first. Fairley moves over in foul territory. He has a play. He's waiting, and he makes the catch. So Moran has fouled out. So far, the Mets have 1 hit. Now Sandy Koufax, it came in the top of the 4th. A single by Ron Hunt. Here's Norm Sherry coming up. There are 3 former Dodgers in this lineup today, of course, Charlie Neal, Norm Sherry, and Roger Craig. Hey, this is a let-up that really sails out of an Andy Over pitch. And the crowd gets a kick out of this one. It's ball one to Norm Sherry. He was going to let up, and actually just a toss up to the plate, a humpback toss is what it turned out to be. This pitch is low for a ball. It's 2-0. Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. Roger Craig with the jacket on is kneeling on deck for the Mets. There's a swing and a fly ball to center. Willie Davis ranges over. He's there, and he makes the catch. So Koufax has retired the Mets in order here in the top of the fifth with no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left at the end of 4.5. The Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. Why does the umpire at home plate keep moving around before every pitch? Well, it's to be sure he's in a position to call the pitch right. You only need to make one move to be sure of the taste that's right in a filter cigarette. Just move over to Viceroy. Because Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now, here's what I mean. If you smoke all 7 leading filter brands, you'll find some taste too strong. You know, just like the unfiltered kind. And some taste too light. They take all the fun and flavor out of smoking. But Viceroy's not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. So next time you buy cigarettes, make the move to Viceroy in the familiar soft pack or new slide top case. Either way, Viceroy's got the taste that's right. So why not pick up a carton of Viceroy next time you're buying cigarettes? In the bottom half of the fifth, the Dodgers will be sending up 7th place batter Willie Davis. He has been up one time, and he lined out to Ron Hunt at second. J.C. Stingle was telling the Los Angeles baseball writers before the game that he would match his infield against any in the National League when it comes to making the double play right now, including the Dodger infield, he added. Here's a pitch swung on and foul back out of play. It's strike one. When the score was posted here in Dodger Stadium yesterday of the outcome of the Mets-Giant game, with the Mets defeating the Giants 4-0, the crowd unloosened a roar that shook the canyons of Chavez Ravine. Not so much for the Met victory, it was the Giant loss they were hailing. Here is the pitch low. It's 1-1. Giants now have a 2-game lead over the second-place Dodgers. Rhythmic applause begun here at Dodger Stadium. One and one is the count for the left-hand batter, Willie Davis, who at one time in his career was an all-right-hand batter. Pitch is in there for a called strike. So Willie didn't become a switch hitter. He just switched from one side to the other. Roger Craig walks down off the mound to get a handful of dirt. Turns and goes back. A count of 1-2. On deck is shortstop Dick Suzuki. The Dodgers leading 1-0. Roger Craig with the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He struck him out, and that is strikeout number 2 for Roger Craig. Dick Suzuki, the shortstop, coming up. He singled to left in the bottom of the second. The second hit for the Dodgers off Craig. They only have 2 off him to this point. Dodgers got their run in the bottom of the first when Gilliam walked, fairly single to right. Hickman bobbled the ball, allowing both runners to move up, and Tommy Davis drove in the run with a sacrifice fly. Swinging a ground ball. Taken deep by Moran. The long throw, and he got him. Just got him at first base. Charlie Neal tried to field the ground ball. He missed it, and Al Moran took it deep in the hole, threw on the first in time to get Suzuki, who has started out toward shortstop, now turns and cuts across the infield to go to the dugout. Joe Becker is disputing the call of Frank Walsh, the umpire at first base. Becker still right up in Frank Walsh's face, disputing the call. Sandy Koufax is due up here. Becker now turns to walk back to the coach's box at first. Frank Walsh, of course, was the umpire at third night before last, who called the ball hit by Joey Malfitano a home run, which gave the Giants a victory, and it was the Mets who were protesting to Walsh at the time. Now it's the Dodgers who are protesting to Walsh. Here's a pitch swung on and missed by Koufax. It's strike one. Leo DeRocher coaching at third, arms folded. As a pitch outside for a ball. Koufax has been up one time, and he grounded out second to first. Craig is moving his second baseman, Ron Holt, over one stride toward the bag at first on the right-hand batter. Here's a swing and a foul ball, and right now we pause for station identification.
WGY Schenectady, your New York Mets station, where the time is 2 1/4 minutes past 5 o'clock, the temperature 77 degrees.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The 1-2 pitch to Koufax, high and away for a ball. It's 2-2. Roger, the former Dodger Craig, hurling today for the Mets. The 2-2 pitch. Low. It's out full now at 3-2. Craig has walked one today. He issued a walk to Jim Gilliam in the bottom of the first, and Gilliam scored the first run. And he walked him. That pitch missed, and Koufax goes to first for the base on ball. Second walk given up by Roger Craig. That'll bring up switch hitting Maury Wills. These two teams have met one time previously. They played one game at Polo Grounds in New York. The Mets won 4-2 as Craig beat Bob Miller. Last year here at Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers beat the Mets 8 times, and the Mets won 1 over the Dodgers here. This pitch is outside to Maury Wills for a ball. Wills batting .270 right now. Wills has stolen 11 bases thus far this season. Stole 104 last year. Here's a pitch low for a ball. Maury Wills turned an ankle on opening day. And it took him a long time, actually, to get back in shape to move on the bases. And once back in shape, he moved pretty well. There was a time when 11 stolen bases at this stage of the campaign would have been sensational. Here's a swing and a ground ball to second. Ron Hunt has it, and he's going to toss underhand to Moran at second for the force on Koufax to retire the side. So in the bottom half of the fifth, the Dodgers got no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left at the end of 5 in Los Angeles. It's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Chug-a-mug is a new way to buy beer. Better get some today. Chug-a-mug's what you say. What a great way to drink Rheingold beer.
Chug-a-mug. That's the name for Rheingold's new wide-mouth container with a top that's so easy to open. Just pull the tab on top of the Chug-a-mug straight out, then straight up. Pull it on, and drink right from the Chug-a-mug's wide mouth. No openers, no glasses, no deposits. No fooling. Chug-a-mug holds the same amount of delicious Rheingold Extra Dry as the 12-ounce can. Costs the same, too, at your dealers now.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Chug-a-mug is the new way to buy beer. Better get some today.
Chug-a-mugs, what you say?
What a great way to drink Rheingold beer.
Going to the top half of the sixth inning, the Mets are scheduled to send up pitcher Roger Craig, center fielder Rod Kenneal, and third baseman Charlie Neal. The New York Mets flew into Los Angeles last night, coming down immediately at the conclusion of their victory over the Giants. Tomorrow will be an off day. Then the Mets will be here Tuesday night. We'll be bringing you that one on radio only Tuesday night at 10:55 p.m. New York time, and then we'll be here Wednesday night, radio and television. Then Thursday is a travel day. We go on to St. Louis. Friday night, we'll bring you the Cardinals and the Mets, radio and television. Saturday afternoon, Cardinals and the Mets, radio and television. And next Sunday, a doubleheader between the Cardinals and the Mets, radio and television. Roger Craig has been up one time, and he drew a walk. Sandy Koufax with the pitch. It swung on and fouled back onto the screen and out of play. Strike one. Roger Craig has been up 20 times officially this season without a hit. Pitch is swung on as a ground ball deep to short. Off the glove of Suzuki. And let's see what the official score says. Base hit, and Roger Craig gets his first hit of this season. Craig is on at first. Time called as the jacket is being brought out to Roger Craig. A backhand stab was tried by Suzuki deep in the hole. He got no control at all. He just glanced off the heel of the glove and on out in the short left field, and it is a base hit for Craig. The Mets getting their second hit off Sandy Koufax. Rod Kenneal is coming up. There was actually no doubt as to what the scoring would be, except that we've learned through experience it's a pretty good idea to wait and find out, because you can get surprised occasionally. Kenneal has flied to center and struck out swinging. Koufax with the pitch. He squares to bunt and lets it go low for ball one. The Mets trail by one run as the Dodgers are out in front 1-0. Chris Pellicudis is the umpire calling balls and strikes. Frank Walsh at first base. Jocko Conlon at second. Ken Burkhardt at third. Again, he squares to bunt. Bunt's fouled on the first base line. Ron Fairley at first base charging on the pitch, and so is Maury Wills, the third baseman. The Dodgers felt during the early part of spring training that they could play Tommy Davis at third base. It was their conjecture that they could stick him in there, and if he could make it for a couple of months, he'd be able to play third base as well as anybody. But it didn't work out that way. He committed numerous errors at third base, and his hitting fell off. So they decided to move him back and let Ken McMullen, a rookie, have a shot at it, and he didn't make it either, and he's now in the minor leagues. Again, the pitch is swung on and fouled back. Kenneal bluffing the bunt and then taking the full swing. So that it's 1-2 now to Kenneal. That's a maneuver that Casey Stengel has his ball players work on a great deal during practice. The bluff of the bunt and the full swing. Because he had the first and third baseman charging right down on top of him. You can chop it either way fairly well. Your chances are excellent. Here's a pitch swung on and foul. Curveball, and Kenneal sort of lunged at it and got just a little piece of it. Count holds at 1-2. The end of 8.5 innings, the Phils lead the Giants 3-0. As that was flashed up on the message board here, there was some appreciative applause. As the Dodgers are trying to move up on the first place and defending National League champion, San Francisco Giants. That is a doubleheader up there in San Francisco as well. Here's the pitch. It's high. Kenneal had squared as though he might bunt even with two strikes. So the count is 2-2. That brought Fairley and Wills loping in again. Nobody out for the Mets, batting in the top half of the sixth inning. They'd like to get Craig to second base some way. This will be a 2-2 pitch. It's on the way. He's running as a swing and a ground ball. It's shortstop Suzuki bobbles the ball, goes on to first in time. Craig sliding in safely at second. It's doubtful that Suzuki would have been able to go for Craig anyway. He was moving on the hit and run, and it was the fact that Suzuki took his eye off the ball that made him bobble it. He was trying to see whether or not he'd be able to go to second. He recovered. He'd only rolled a foot away, and time to get Keneal at first. So now the hit and run kept him out of the double play. The effect of the sacrifice is achieved, although it was not pulled off. And now Charlie Neal is coming up, right-hand batter. Scoring on Keneal is simply 6-3. Neal has been up twice, grounded out both times. Swing and a ground ball to the right side, taken by Jim Gilliam. He goes on to first, and Roger Craig moves to third on the play. So Neal took the ground ball to the right side, moved Craig to third, but with 2 men out now, and Ron Hunt is coming up. The applause is not for Ron Hunt, it is for the final score of the Phils and San Francisco Giants game that has been posted. The Phils have defeated the Giants, shut them out by a score of 3-0. So yesterday, Carl Willie of the Mets shut out the Giants, and today Cal McLeish of the Phils has shut out the Giants. The vaunted power of the National League champions is being held in check. Ron Hunt up there for the Mets. The clean hit in the top half of the fourth inning. If he could get one here now, he could tie up this ball game because the Mets have potential tying run at third base in the person of Roger Craig. Dodgers lead 1-0. Swing and a drive deep to left, but Davis is ranging back, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Ball was well hit, but right at Davis. And in the top of the sixth, the Mets got no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left, and at the end of 5.5, it's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Yes, sir, that's the song that's topped on the hit parade in New York again this year. Seems like it always is. Just like Rheingold is always New York's favorite beer. Year after year after year. Why? Because people like a dry beer best. Dry beer is naturally more refreshing. And Rheingold is the extra dry beer. Extra dry for the extra refreshment, the bright, clean taste that people want in a glass of beer. And get every time that they order Rheingold. So, why don't you give Rheingold a try? Order up or pour yourself a refreshing glass of Rheingold Extra Dry. Chances are you'll join the millions of people who sing out for Rheingold and say, my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. It's beer as beer should taste. And a fella whom you've heard sing that song a great many times is seated down back of the Met dugout here this afternoon, Nat King Cole, in the front row back of the Met dugout. You've heard him sing the Rheingold song many times. We'll be going to the bottom half of the sixth inning now. Roger Craig has taken his time since he was the base runner. He is just now arriving at the mound to start his warm-up tosses. So we'll get you checked out on a few scores here. In San Francisco, it was the Phils 3 runs on 5 hits and no errors. The Giants no runs on 5 hits and 2 errors. McLeish all the way for the victory. Jack Fisher started and was the loser. Jim Duffalo in the 9th and Don Larson in the 9th. That's the first game of a doubleheader. The Cubs defeated the Braves 3-2. Ellsworth the winner, Burdette the loser. Henry Aaron hitting his 13th home run. In the second game, Warren Spahn from Milwaukee. Cal Kuntz started for Chicago Brewer in the first. No score in that game yet. The end of 2 innings, it's the Pirates nothing, the Colts 45-0. Bob Twain against Dick Farrell. And at the end of 6, it's the Cincinnati Reds 10 and the St. Louis Cardinals 4. Nuxall against Gibson, relieved by Schatz in the 7th inning. Right here in the bottom half of the 6th inning, switch hitter Jim Gilliam batting left against right-hander Roger Craig. Neal in on the edge of the grass at third. Here's Craig's pitch, and it's in there for a call. Strike 1. Dodgers got a run in the bottom of the first when, with 1 out, Jim Gilliam drew a walk. Fairly singled down the line and right, and when Hickman let the ball get away, both runners moved up. An error charged to Hickman on the play. It gave the Dodgers runners at second and third with 1 out. Tommy Davis hit a fly ball to left center, taken by Rod Keneal. It was a sacrifice fly because Gilliam tagged up and scored after the catch with the only run that has been scored in this ball game. The Mets made their most serious threat just now when they got Roger Craig on his forest third with 2 men out. Hunt got a hold of the ball well, but drilled it into left at Tommy Davis for the out. Craig getting a sign from battery mate and road roommate Norm Sherry, and here's the pitch. Bouncing in, it's low, it's 1-1. Doubleheader here this afternoon, so stick around. We'll have a lot of baseball to send your way. And you're getting a much earlier start than you did the night before last. Here's the pitch outside for a ball. It's 2-1. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Swung on, and it's a pop down the left field line, curving over, going foul, and out of play. Nobody can get to it. Counts 2-2 to Gilliam. Bud Hill, the pilot who flies the Mets around when they're on the road, came into San Francisco from New York yesterday to fly the Mets down from San Francisco to Los Angeles. He reported that when he got to work yesterday morning, the topic of conversation all around the airline's office was, how late did you stay up watching the Mets play baseball? Here's 2-2 pitch, swung on, and there's a pop. That's coming back foul. Sherry gives it a run, and so does Charlie Neal. And Neal bumps into Sherry. Sherry makes the catch, and Neal sits down hard. He's okay. He's laughing now. He's all right, uninjured, as he simply bounced off Norm Sherry. He didn't move him a fraction of an inch. So Gilliam has fouled out to the catcher. Two former Dodgers colliding in front of the Dodger dugout. And that'll bring up Ron Fairley. Well, it's batting .344. He had a tremendous year against the Mets last year. He was the toughest man for them to get out. You know, millions say my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. How about you? Right now, why don't you open up or order up a Rheingold Extra Dry. Pitch to the left-hand batter. Misses the outside corner, and it's ball one. Swinging a high-hopping ground ball to second. Taken on a Sunday hop by Ron Hunt over to Crane Pool at first in time, and they're two away. That will bring up Tommy Davis. Had the sacrifice fly to driving a run in the first, grounded out third to first in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Pete Rickard, who is also a left-hander, will be pitching for the Dodgers in the second game. And the Mets going to pitch a left-hander in the second game, Al Jackson. Roger Craig starts the motion to Tommy Davis, and it's outside for ball one. Davis, of course, is Brooklyn-born. Signed by the Dodgers when he had a burning ambition to play in Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. But at the time he got to the major leagues, there was no Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. That pitch is in there for a called strike. Slider at the belt to Tommy Davis. Craig's pitch is swung on. It's a foul ball coming back and out of play. So it's 1-2 now to Tommy Davis with two men out. Nobody on base, and the Dodgers leading by a score 1-0. Craig now smoothing out the dirt, takes a look around his outfield. Gets a sign from Norm Sherry. Here's the windup and the 1-2 pitch. Low went away, gets away, and comes on back. No damage, no base runners. The count is 2-2. The sun trying valiantly to break through the overcast, but has not quite made it as yet. Tommy Davis swings the bat as he waits. That pitch missed low and away, and it's out full now at 3-2 with two men out. Craig has walked two today. He walked Jim Gilliam in the first inning, and he walked Sandy Koufax in the fifth inning. So we'll have a payoff pitch. Craig winds and fires. It's swung on and lined into center field, and it's going to be one hop by Rod Cannell. Plays it back in, and Tommy Davis has a single to center. That is only the third hit for the Dodgers off Roger Craig. He gave up a single to Fairley in the first, single to Suzuki in the second, and now a single to Tommy Davis in the bottom half of the sixth. Wally Moon coming up, the old Texas Aggie, a left-hand batter. Moon's batting .293. For 4 years, he made a career of hitting opposite field fly balls into the screen at the Coliseum here in Los Angeles, which was the Dodger home for 4 seasons. This pitch is in there for a called strike. But when they moved into somewhat spacious Dodger Stadium, that took away a lot of the power of Wally Moon. He had 1 home run and 9 runs batted in. Tommy Davis leads, and there's a throw over, not in time. Here's another throw over, not in time. Moon had stepped out of the batter's box, and now he comes back in. The Dodgers won, the Mets nothing. Here's the pitch. He's running, and there's a swing and a drive foul on the left field line, curving into the stands back of the Dodger dugout. It is a 2-strike count now to Moon as they had the hit and run on there, moving Tommy Davis on the pitch. The Mets and the Dodgers. New York Mets on this road trip are meeting the top teams in the National League. Just completed a series with the Giants, and what a series. Giants won 6-5 and 4-3, and then the Mets shut them out 4-0 in the only really decisive game of the series. Pitch is low and away for a ball. It's 1-2. The Mets today with a doubleheader are opening up a 4-game set with the Dodgers, who are in second place, and then they'll move on to St. Louis to meet the third place St. Louis Cardinals in 4 games. Here's a throw over, not in time. Tommy Davis getting back safely. Roger Craig was the winning pitcher when the Mets beat the Dodgers 4-2 earlier this year at the Polo Grounds. Said that was one of his biggest thrills in baseball. There's a throw over. Meaning by that, of course, beating his former teammates, which must be a big kick. Craig was the mainstay for these Dodgers in 2 runs to National League limits, 55-59. Swinging a ground ball. Craig can't get it. Can Hunt. He throws on to first, and he's safe at first base. Both runners are safe. Both runners are safe, and it's a base hit. Scored as a base hit for Wally Moon. It was a ground ball hit to the right side, and Roger Craig tried to flag it, couldn't. Ron Hunt charged the ball, did not think he had any chance to get Tommy Davis at second, so leaping into the air, he fired on to first, but not in time to get Moon, so it's a leg hit for Wally Moon. Gives the Dodgers runners at first and second. That is base hit number 4 for the Dodgers off Craig. Brings up John Roseboro, the left-hand batting catcher, who has struck out swinging and fouled out to first base. That gets the Dodger fans alive here. Dodgers lead 1-0. Craig with the pitch, swung on and missed for strike 1. This is the first time since the first inning that the Dodgers have had as many as 2 base runners on at any one time. After Suzuki single in the second until Koufax walked in the 5th, Craig had retired 9 consecutive batters. Swing and a foul tip off the end of the bat and right out of the glove of Norm Sherry. It's a 2-strike count to John Roseboro. Craig now walks back toward the mound, taking off his cap. Two-strike count to Roseboro. He has 3 home runs and 15 runs batted in this season, and an average of .250. The 2-strike pitch. And he struck him out. He butted around, tried to check it, and he is protesting, but Felacuda says strikeout. Number 3 for Craig, and in the bottom half of the 6th, the Dodgers got no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. At the end of 6, it's the Dodgers 1, the Mets nothing. Roger Craig and Sandy Koufax locked up here in a tremendous pitcher's duel. We'll be going along to the 7th inning, and coming in here to tell you all about it is Bob Murphy.
All right, Lindsay. Now duel goes along between Sandy Koufax and Roger Craig, and it is a good one. We'll be going to the 7th inning, and the New York Mets will have Cliff Cook coming up trying to get it going. Back about 1946, the first real continuity of the Old Timers Day games got going in New York. Started by President and General Manager of the New York Mets, George Weiss. And the Old Timers Day games now have become a tremendous amount of fun for one and all, for the fans, for the old timers who look forward to the get-together and the happy reunion, and for today's players who usually come armed with cameras and surround the dugouts to compare today's baseball with the previous era of the great stars. For the New York Mets this year, their big Old Timers Day game will take place on the 22nd of June, the theme being the many great Major League stars from the metropolitan area of New York. Then the Old Timers will have a 2-inning game preceding the game between the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. Old Timers Day game on June 22nd this year. Now Sandy Koufax into his windup, the pitch to Cook. A squibbler hit out in front of the plate, a fair ball, pounced on by Roseboro. He pegs to first in time, and Cook is out. One away and nobody on. Jim Hickman will be coming up. Jim 0 for 2 has flied to right and lined to left field. One away, nobody on. Top half of the 7th inning. Pitch thrown by Koufax is in the dirt. His last 3 starts, Sandy has been almost untouchable. He has given up only 3 runs in his last 3 starts. An earned run average of about a half a run per 9 innings, a little bit more than that. This is the opener of a doubleheader in the nightcap. Al Jackson will be opposed by Pete Rickard in a battle of left-handers. Dodgers currently riding a 4-game winning streak, and they've won 9 of their last 11. Here's the pitch thrown to Jim Hickman. Fastball over, a call strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jim. Mets have been held to 2 hits, singles by Ron Hunt and Roger Craig. On the other hand, Roger has given up just 1 run, allowed only 4 hits. Inside, ball 2, 2-1 on Hickman. Good crowd watching the Sunday doubleheader as Casey and the Mets come into Los Angeles for the first time this year. Pitching 2-1. Ground ball whacked down to third, handled by Maury Wills. The peg across is in time to Ron Fairley, and Hickman is out. Two outs, nobody on. That brings up Eddie Kranepool. Eddie has been up against Sandy twice. Popped up to the catcher, Johnny Roseboro, and bounced out pitcher to first. Now Koufax out of his windup delivers, and a fastball is right in there for a call, strike 1. Here's the pitch on the way. Off the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers not figuring that Eddie Kranepool will get around on Sandy Koufax. They have Willie Davis over in left center field. Swung on, foul tip. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jim Gilliam, playing second, is shaded over towards second as though Kranepool were a right-hand hitter. Down comes the pitch to him, outside and low. Even count now, 2-2. Fouled upstairs and out of play. 2 outs, nobody on. We're in the top half of the 7th inning in the opener of the twin bill. Dodgers leading 1-0. This is only the second of the 18 games this year between the Mets and the Dodgers. A smash on the ground to short, taken on a hop. Fired across by Suzuki in time to get Eddie Crane pulled. Eddie broke his bat when he hit that one. It started out as kind of a soft, low liner, and then was played on a hop by Suzuki. Mets out in order in the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. 7th inning stretch time for the Dodgers fans. At the end of 6.5 innings, the score, the Dodgers 1, and the Mets nothing. You know, baseball's a funny game in many respects. You see, some fellows come along and they seem to zoom to the top, and then suddenly they're back in the minors. But I guess that's true of a lot of things. Take beer, for example. You know, it's like baseball in that to stay on top, you've really got to have it. And I guess you'll agree that Rheingold has really got it. It's been New York's favorite beer for many, many years. And Rheingold's amazing popularity can be explained by 2 little words. Extra dry. Rheingold brews the long, slow, costlier way, so you get a dividend in taste. A taste that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. Yes, sir, Rheingold is beer as beer should taste. Find that out for yourself, though. Enjoy a tall, refreshing glass of Rheingold right now. Join the millions who say, my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Willie Davis comes up for the Dodgers in the bottom half of the 7th inning. We'll give you a complete rundown on all the scores of the other games at the end of the inning. Willie will be followed by Dick Suzuki and then Sandy Koufax. Tail end of the batting order coming up for the Dodgers in the last half of the 7th. Here's the pitch on the way. A line drive base hit going to right field. He hit a changeup. Jim Hickman pegs it back in to Ron Hunt. That's base hit number 5 for the Dodgers and brings up Dick Suzuki. Suzuki hitting at .239. Slick fielder who's had previous trials in spring training with the Dodgers, and this year has stuck. And in the move to tighten up the infield, Suzuki is now playing short and Maury Wills at third. And he's been doing a good job with the bat so far. Taken high, it's ball 1 as the Mets were looking for the bunt. Outfield a stride toward left. There goes the runner, hit and run, swing and a miss. Peg going down the slide. He's out at second base. Real good throw by Norm Sherry to Ron Hunt. And one of the fastest men in the game, Willie Davis, is cut down. Willie Davis, trying for his 8th stolen base of the year, is cut down by Norm Sherry. Last year, Willie Davis stole 32. It, however, went almost unnoticed because of the remarkable record of Maury Wills. Now Suzuki hitting with the bases empty, and the windup and pitch by Craig. A line drive to left field, a base hit. Grabbed on a hop by Cliff Cook. And the good throw by Norm Sherry becomes even more important. Now Sandy Koufax will be coming on. Sandy has grounded out second to first and drawn a walk. Dodgers have never had a game rained out. I never saw it look more like rain than it does right here now.
This is a bright sunny day here in California now. You know that for sure, Bob Murphy.
All right, we'll get the check from the junior chamber for you, Ralph. Now the pitch on the way. Inside. I suppose it won't rain, Ralph, but it sure does look like it.
They have a lot of days here like this. This is what they call SMOG. We won't say the word out loud.
Oh, that's what they call that, huh? I've often wondered about that. Charlie Neal in close at third looking for the bunt. Sandy doesn't offer at it. It's outside, ball 2, 2-0. No game tomorrow, then night games with the Dodgers Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Next Thursday, a travel day to St. Louis, a series in St. Louis, and then back home for New York. Throw to first, not in time. Giants were shut out in that first game today in San Francisco by Cal McClish. Inside and high. You know, Ralph, when you add it up, with Willie pitching a shutout yesterday, that's 28 innings that the Giants have gone, scoring only one run, and that was a very disputed run.
You might say that would be called an upset, wouldn't you, with that powerful lineup?
Yeah, when you think of fellows like Mays and Cepeda and McCovey and Alou and those fellows, you wouldn't think they could go 28 innings without a run. Strike called in the inside corner, 3-1.
Of course, the only way you can beat that ball club is with good pitching. The Dodgers beat the Giants 3 games right down here just a short while ago, and they got tremendous pitching from Koufax and Drysdale to win 2 of the 3 games.
Roger Craig behind on Koufax, 3-1. A throw to first, not in time. Dodgers lead 1-0. We're in the last half of the 7th. He's around to bunt. Bunt's foul off to the right. Now it's 3-2.
Bob, here's some real bad news for all the Hollywood set out here in Los Angeles. It sort of makes it tough to say that, but Bo Belinsky just had 5 runs scored off of him by the New York Yankees, and I guess you'll see a lot of white handkerchiefs come out.
This has not exactly been a great year so far for Bo.
Well, he's been mighty large, though, out this way.
Ball count, 3-2. Let's keep an eye now on Suzuki and see if Walter Alston has him running. Koufax, the pitcher, is hitting. A throw to first, not in time. Now the stretch. Another throw to first. Close at first base. He almost got him that time. Now let's see if the Dodgers have Koufax try to bunt on 3-2 or swing away. He's going to try to bunt. It's over. Strike 3 call. He squared it around, then didn't offer at it, and the pitch was over for a call, 3rd strike. That's strikeout number 3 for Roger Craig, and it brings up Maury Wills. Maury 0 for 3, tried to bunt his way on, was thrown out, grounded out, and hit into a force play. Maury has 11 stolen bases so far this year. Here's the pitch on the way. Taken high, 1 ball and no strikes. To ask Maury Wills to steal over 100 bases again this year would be like asking Roger Maris to hit 61 home runs again. Here's the pitch to him. Fastball in the corner, a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two men down. Suzuki is the base runner on first. Charlie Neal playing on the rim of the grass wide of the bag at third. Second and short, just about straight away. And up a stride to allow for the running speed of Maury Wills. Ball just lobbed over to first this time by Craig. Count on the hitter, 1 ball and 1 strike. Throw to first. Safe. Roger Craig really working on Dick Trzaskowski. Now Roger up in pitching position. Delivers to Wills a slow bouncing ball to Ron Hunt. Ron pegs to Cranepool, and the Dodgers are out in the home 7th inning. In the last half of the 7th, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on. And now 7 innings complete. The score, the Dodgers 1 and the Mets nothing. And while the teams are changing sides, Ralph will bring you up to date on the scores of the other games.
Okay, Bob, the Chicago Cubs knocked off the Milwaukee Braves 3-2. Dick Ellsworth going all the way for an 8-hitter. The losing pitcher was Lou Burdette. A home run by Hank Aaron for the losing cause, his 13th of this Major League season. He leads the Major Leagues. In the second game, Milwaukee has scored in the top of the first, Chicago out in the bottom of the first. So they lead 1-0 with Warren Spahn going for the Milwaukee Braves. And he is going for his 333rd victory. Going now for the Chicago Cubs, Brewer, who relieved the starting pitcher, Cal Kuntz. Pittsburgh won, Houston nothing after 3.5. Brandon Farrell in that one. Cincinnati, a big lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. They lead by a score of 10-5, with the Cardinals batting in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Joe Nuxall, the starting pitcher for the Reds. Also in the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies shut out the Giants 3-0. McClish, a 5-hitter to win the ball game. The losing pitcher, Fisher. In the second game, the starting pitcher is Boozer for the Phils against Juan Marichal for the Giants. In the American League, the Yankees lost to L.A. 6-2 in the first game. In the second game, the Yankees lead 5-0 after one inning.
Al Moran will be leading off for New York now as we go to the eighth inning. We'll have some warm-up action in the bullpen for the Mets in the event Casey wants to go to a pinch hitter. Foul ball off, no play. Running down the American League scores, the Tigers beat Washington 5-1, a three-hitter for Bill Fall. Cleveland beat Minnesota 6-4 in the opener of two. Twins lead 3-1 after 3.5 in the second game. Curve has hit foul down the third baseline, no play. Ken McKenzie warming up for New York. At Boston, the Red Sox won the opener from the A's 7-3, Monbouquet the winner. The A's lead 5-2 after 3.5 in the second game behind Ed Rocco. Birds down the White Sox 4-3 for Robin Roberts in the opener, Juan Pizarro losing. Outside and high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fouled high in the air and off to the right. This will be out of play. In the second game, Ray Herbert, who is trying for his 6th shutout of the season and who has taken dead aim on a major league record, gave up a run on a homer, or gave up a run, I should say, in the third inning. Nothing to do with a home run. Yes, it does. John Orsino hit one in the third, nobody on. Ron Hansen and Camilo Carrion have homered for the White Sox. They lead by 3-1 in the top of the fourth inning. Now the pitch thrown to Moran, a fly ball hit in the air to short right. Wally Moon comes in, now he's under it, and Wally takes it for the out. It could be a big day for Ray Herbert of the White Sox. If he pitches another shutout, it'll be 5 in a row and 6 for the year.
We pause now 10 seconds for station identification.
WGY Schenectady, your New York Mets station.
Nobody on. Norm Sherry is the hitter now, facing Sandy Koufax. We're in the top of the eighth inning, a 1-0 ball game. Outside and high to Norm Sherry, 1 ball and no strikes. In today's game, Koufax has walked 1 and struck out 3, allowed no runs and given up just 2 hits, both singles. Off-speed delivery, ball 2, 2-0 on Norm Sherry. Casey Stengel perched with 1 foot on the top of the dugout. Steps, looking out toward his bullpen and surveying the situation. Foul ball back to the screen, 2-1 on Norm Sherry. One out, nobody on. Outfield rather deep and around toward left against Sherry. Pitch is over. He went to a fastball, and now it's 2-2. Pitching 2-2. Sherry whacks it foul off the fist. Back toward the press box. It'll be out of play. Ball landing in the third of the 5 levels of this beautiful Dodger Stadium. First level is actually below the playing surface. Pitching 2-2. Foul ball off to the left, no play. Count remains at 2-2 on Norm Sherry. Valley Hemus and Cookie Lavagetto on the coaching lines, hoping they get some work to do. Mets trailing by 1 here in the top half of the 8th inning. Roger Craig continuing to pitch very steady ball and very effective ball for New York. A foul fly hit down the right field line, giving chase. Ron Fairley going way down the warning path, but it'll be out of his reach. While everybody returns to their positions, we're a little overdue on this one, but we'll pause for station identification. Two and two on Norm Sherry. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Now Koufax over the head. Around comes the arm. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with a blazer. Number 4 for Sandy Koufax. Check that. He foul tipped it. Just barely got a piece of it. And stays alive with a count of 2 and 2. Next pitch. This time he swings and misses, and the ball is held by Johnny Roseboro, 2 down. Now Roger Craig will be coming up to hit. Nobody on. Casey gives Roger a chance to stay in the ball game. Roger, a former Dodger, getting a nice hand as he comes on to hit. '59, the Dodger pennant year. Roger was the pitcher that won the big games down the stretch. A ground ball stabbed by Koufax in his glove hand. He throws to first, and the side is out in the top of the 8th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. At the end of 7.5 innings to score, the Dodgers 1 and the New York Mets nothing. And now a word from Viceroy Cigarettes.
We're the Brothers Ford. We're singing out a Viceroy melody. About Viceroy's brand new slide top case, as modern as can be. Now Viceroy sets the pace with the one and only slide top case. Slides right open, slides shut tight. The crush-proof slide top case, that's right, that's right, that's right. Slide, take a light, slide shut so tight. Slide top case exclusive. New. It's the only crush-proof case for you. The latest is the Viceroy slide with the case that's right, right inside. Slides right open, slide shut tight. The Viceroy slide top case, that's right. Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. That's right, that's right. Viceroy.
That single game in St. Louis, which was held up because of rain, has now been completed. The Cincinnati Reds beat the St. Louis Cardinals 10-6. Joe Nuxall all the way for the victory. He gave up 15 hits, but he went all the way because he was working with the lead. Bob Gibson, the losing pitcher. Now Junior Gilliam up in the last of the 8th inning. Foul ball back, strike 1. Ron Fairley on deck, and then Tommy Davis. The only run of the game crossed the plate in the very first inning. Gilliam drew a walk. Fairley singled to right field. Gilliam raced to third. He came in to score on a sacrifice fly by Tommy Davis. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. There was an error on the play on the base hit to right field, but it did not figure in the scoring. Now the windup, in comes the pitch. That gets the outside corner for a call strike, 1-2. In the 9th inning, the Mets will have the top of their batting order coming up to try and tie this game up. No game tomorrow, but Tuesday night it'll be Jay Hook and Johnny Padres in the 3rd of the 4-game series. Outside and high, 2-2 on Junior Gilliam. Pittsburgh and Houston tied 1-1 at the end of 4. Bob Friend against Turk Farrell. Dick Ellsworth went all the way as Chicago beat Milwaukee 3-2 in the opener. Line drive that goes foul down the left field line. In the second game today in Chicago, the Braves lead 3-0 at the end of an inning and a half. Warren Spahn pitching for the Braves. No score on the second game yet at Candlestick. Johnny Boozer against Juan Marichal. McLeish pitched a 5-hit shutout in the opener. Phillies winning 3-0. Now Craig over the head, the 2-2 delivery. Squibbler hits slowly down the third base line. If it stays fair, they can never get him. They let it roll. It's a fair ball for a base hit. So Junior Gilliam has now hit safely in 15 straight ball games. That time he took a big swing and just topped a slow roller down the third base line. Only hope the Mets had was to let that one roll and hope it might go foul, but it stayed fair. So it's a 15-game hitting streak for Gilliam, and it brings up Ron Fairley. Dodgers lead 1-0, and now they have their leadoff runner on base in the last half of the eighth inning. Charlie Neal comes in close at third, looking for the bunt. Fairley, the leading Dodger batter, has 1 for 3 today. He singled in the first inning. His single sent Gilliam to third, and Junior then scored on the long outfield fly hit by Tommy Davis. Now Gilliam takes the lead off first base. Pitched by Craig. He's around. Bunts the ball. Fair ball. Craig up with it. The play goes to first. In time, getting Fairley. But a good bunt by Ron Fairley as he tries to help build a run, bunting Gilliam across to second. Tommy Davis, the cleanup batter, coming up. Last year, Tommy led the National League in total base hits, batting average, and runs batted in. He set a Dodger club record for RBIs, erasing the old mark held by Roy Campanella. Wally Moon waits on deck. Now Craig in pitching position. Delivers way inside. It's ball one. You simply couldn't ask for better pitching than the Mets have received on this road trip. Now a whirl by Craig, but no throw made as they chase Gilliam back to second. Joe Becker and Leo DeRocher on the lines for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's the pitch. A high drive hit deep to center field. Running hard is Rod Cannell. He's getting under it. Makes the catch out in deep right center field. Gilliam tags and races to third after the grab. Tommy Davis really hit that one. And Rod Cannell had to use that good speed of his to run it down in right center field. That brings up Wally Moon. Wally has 1 hit and 3 times up. He got an infield hit in the 6th inning. Two down, Gilliam on third. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Dodgers 1, Mets nothing. Mets will have the first 3 men in their batting order coming up in the 9th inning against Sandy Koufax. Moon, the hitter, with Roseboro on deck. Craig out of his windup, the pitch, and the ball is popped up down the left field line. Running hard is Charlie Neal, so's Al Moran, and Moran makes the grab in foul ground to retire the side. Moran running at full speed, grabbed it at the last moment down the line and over in foul territory. In the 8th inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. Now 8 innings complete. The score, the Dodgers 1 and the Mets nothing. Fans, while the New York Mets are continuing along on their road trip, which will wind up next Sunday in St. Louis, We hope you'll take the time to order your revised edition of the 1963 New York Mets yearbook. The revised edition contains pictures and sketches on Duke Snyder and Eddie Kranepool, as well as the remaining squad, manager Casey Stengel and his coaching staff. Many other very interesting things that you'll enjoy referring to time and time again throughout the year will be found in the Mets yearbook. To get your copy by mail, simply send 50 cents to Mets yearbook, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. Remember, too, the tickets for the Mayor's Trophy game between the Mets and the Yankees at the Yankee Stadium on Monday night, June 3rd, are now on sale at all New York Met ticket outlets. Or they may be obtained by writing to Ticket Manager, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. Now we have a change in the outfield for the Dodgers. Lee Walls has gone to right field. Rod Keneal will be leading off as the Mets try and get it going. Rod 0 for 3 in the game, has flied to center, been struck out, and grounded out short to first. Pitch guy Koufax is over, strike one call. Koufax has given up only 2 hits. A single to right center by Hunt and a single to left by Roger Craig. A little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss on the fast one by Sandy Koufax. 1-2 on Rod Keneal. Charlie Neal on deck, and then Ron Hunt. Here's the pitch to him. He held up in time on a slow curve, and the count is even at 2-2. Now Sandy has his sign. Keneal waiting. Outside, it's ball 3, and the count is full, 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Strike 3 called, and Keneal is caught looking. Fastball on the outside corner. Five strikeouts for Sandy Koufax. It brings up Charlie Neal. Charlie Neal 0 for 3. Charlie has grounded out short to first and twice been thrown out by Gilliam. Outside and high, 1 ball and no strikes. Casey Stengel comes to the top of the dugout steps, clenching that fist and yelling out to Charlie Neal, "Let's get it going." Fastball on the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. Swing and a miss, and the bat flies out of Charlie's hands. Sails out towards shortstop. The bat really slipped out of his hands that time, and now the count is 1-2. Now Sandy takes his sign from Roseboro. In comes his pitch to Neal. Curve is foul back into the backstop, and the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Battle of left-handers in the second game today. Pete Rickard and Al Jackson will be on the mound. And if the second game is anything like this one, it'll be quite a pitching duel. Fly ball hit the short right field. Under it is Walls. Lee Walls puts it away for the out. 2 down in the ninth. Right here, let's pause for station identification.
Here, Howard Cosell in Clubhouse Journal between the games over WABC, AM and FM, New York.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner. We're in the ninth inning, 2 outs and nobody on, and Ron Hunt is the batter. Outside, on the outside corner, strike one. Roger Craig, for the second time, hooked up in a 1-0 pitching duel. He lost the game to Bob Henley and the Milwaukee Braves earlier this year, 1-0 in 10 innings. A drive in the air to center field. Willie Davis is under it, makes the catch, and the game is over. A 2-hit shutout for Sandy Koufax as he wins his 6th game of the year, beating Roger Craig, who pitched superbly. In the ninth inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. So the Dodgers have taken the opener of today's doubleheader in a brilliant pitching duel. Sandy Koufax besting Roger Craig. Final score, the Dodgers 1 and the New York Mets nothing. We'll have the line score in the wrap-up in just a moment. You know, you've heard us say it's beer as beer should taste. Well, think of that for just a minute. Now, isn't that what you want in a beer? Don't you want a beer that's refreshingly dry to the taste, with a flavor that's brisk and bright and clean clear through? Well, that is Rheingold. Rheingold is brewed to be just that. Brewed of the choicest ingredients, brewed the long, slow, costlier way, Rheingold is everything you look for in beer, and dry tells you why. Yes, extra dry means Rheingold's a better beer. It's a wonderful beer, and extra dry means Rheingold beer is more refreshing. The more refreshing a beer is, the more you're going to enjoy it. So enjoy fine, cold Rheingold beer. Join the millions who have made Rheingold New York's largest selling beer. The line scored: Dodgers 1 run, 7 hits, no errors. New York, no runs, 2 hits and 1 error. The winning pitcher, Sandy Koufax. Koufax now has won 6 and lost 1. Losing pitcher, Roger Craig. Roger now has won 2 and lost 6. It is the second time this year that Roger has lost a 1-0 man duel. The only run of the game came in the first inning. Gilliam drew a walk, went from first to third on a base hit to right by Ron Fairley, and came in to score on a long outfield fly hit by Tommy Davis. So the Dodgers take the opener at 1-0. Game winding up at 3 o'clock Los Angeles time. Second game should be underway about 25 after. The second game pitchers will be Pete Rickard for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and for the New York Mets on the mound will be left-hander Alvin Jackson. Hope you'll stay tuned for the Between Games program, and when we're ready to go in game number 2 of the Twin Bill, we'll be right back with you. Final score in the opener, Dodgers 1 and the Mets nothing. Right now, we return you to your local station.
WGY, WGFM, Schenectady, New York. News now from the WGY newsroom. Earl Charland reporting. Astronaut Gordon Cooper said today that he found it very easy to sleep in space during his record 22-orbit mission last week. Cooper told a news conference at Cape Canaveral, Florida, "I slept very soundly." The 36-year-old Air Force major said he dreamed while taking his celestial slumber, but could not remember what the dreams were about. Cooper said, "I feel they were the same type of dreams as I have on Earth." America's newest space hero reported he slept for a total of about 5.5 or 6 hours during the 34 hours he was aloft. He said he did not want to sleep for long periods because of a heating problem with his spacesuit. Concerning the heating problem, Cooper said, "This takes constant adjustment to maintain an even temperature." He said that he wakened often because of a warming trend in the suit. Cooper told his story in the auditorium of a motel in the missile community of Cocoa Beach, Florida, which the astronauts call their home away from home. In a motorcade earlier, Cooper received a rousing welcome from thousands who jammed into Cocoa Beach to cheer his return. The auditorium was packed with newsmen from around the world. They had been covering the story since Cooper's Atlas rocket sent him aloft from the Cape last Wednesday on the start of his historic space journey. Sitting with Cooper at the news conference were Project Mercury directors Robert Siemens, Jr. and Robert Gilruth, and Operations Director Walter Williams. Siemens hailed Cooper's flight as another milestone toward making the United States preeminent in space. The nations of the European Common Market have rejected American proposals to attack world trade barriers through sweeping across-the-board tariff reductions. A Common Market source reported this decision after a 2-hour meeting in Geneva. President Kennedy's chief trade negotiator, Christian Herter, had urged that a round of tariff talks open next year, with the aim of achieving across-the-board reductions of as much as 50%. The Executive Council of the Democratic Socialist Party in Italy has voted to back a new left-of-center government. The council did not say whether the party approves bringing back former Premier Fanfani, but Fanfani, who resigned last week, appears to have the job sewed up just the same. The ruling Ba'ath Socialist Party in Syria has accused Egypt of breaking up the proposed Arab Federation of Syria, Iraq, and Egypt. The party's official newspaper claimed that Egypt's refusal to cooperate with the new Syrian government amounts to a withdrawal from the proposed federation. President Sukarno of Indonesia has been made chief of state of his country for life by a vote of Indonesian Congress. Sukarno has been president since the birth of the Indonesian Republic in 1945.
We have some extra room here, so why waste it? You've just heard the first game of the doubleheader on May 19th, 1963, between the Dodgers and the Mets, as Sandy Koufax shut out the Mets 1-0 in L.A. The second game went 13 innings, lasting almost 4 hours. The Mets scored first in the fourth inning as Ron Hunt scored on an error. Right back came the Dodgers in the bottom of the fourth as Oliver scored on a wild pitch. In the top of the fifth, the Mets got the lead back on an RBI single by Ron Hunt, and the Dodgers again tied it at 2 in the bottom of the sixth on a hit by Tommy Davis. Then the pitchers took over, with no scoring until the 13th inning. We joined Lindsey Nelson at the beginning of the top half of the 13th inning.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, where the Mets will be coming up in the top half of the 13th inning. This is the longest game played this season by either team. The Dodgers played 12 innings against the Houston Colt 45s on the 12th of April and lost the ball game to Dick Farrell. So as we go to the 13th, this is a marathon record for both teams for the 1963 season. The Mets are scheduled to send up Ron Hunt, Jim Hickman, and Cliff Cook in the top half of the 13th inning. Ron Peronoski, who came on here in the 7th inning, stays in. Peronoski has given up only 3 hits since he came into the ballgame. A single by Cranepool in the 8th inning, and then the 2 hits, one by Moran and another by Charlie Neal in the 12th inning. He has struck out 4 and walked 3 during his tenure. And Ron Hunt comes up. For the Mets, he's the man who's had a great deal to do with this game, and that he scored the first run. He made a dash from third in an attempt to steal home the top of the 4th, and he upset the catcher, Doug Camilli, who dropped the ball, and he was safe. It was scored as an error on Camilli, so that he did not get credited with a steal of home, but the effect was the very same because he scored the run. He came up then in the 5th inning and knocked in Charlie Neal from second with the second run. This pitch is low to Ron Hunt. The Mets only got 2 hits off Sandy Koufax in the first game today, and Ron Hunt got one of those. Roger Craig got the other. Peronoski's pitch swung on. It's a little ground ball foul. Cookie Lavagetto was going to field it, and it was picked up by Maury Wells. It's 1-1. 42,541 fans. The official paid at Dodger Stadium. Here's a swing and a fly ball down the right field line. Frank Howard gives it a long run. Way back, and Howard one-handed near the corner. Frank Howard made the long, running, one-hand catch in the warning track. Robbing Ron Hunt as Hunt comes back. He was already at second base, looking incredibly out into the right field corner. That would have been sure extra bases. So Frank Howard, matching the catch made by Cliff Cook on a drive of his in left. And here is Jim Hickman coming up. Hickman has been up 4 times without a hit and had 1 walk in this game. The Mets have 2 runs on 8 hits. The Dodgers have 2 runs on 10 hits in this game. Baranowski pitches inside for a ball. And again, the motion. It misses low and away. It's 2-0 to Jim Hickman. The Mets battling here, hoping for some kind of break, some kind of action to get them a run across. This pitch is low for a ball. It's 3-0. Baranowski working very carefully to Jim Hickman. All right, here's a 3-0 pitch. Hickman belts it down the left field line. It's going to go all the way to the corner. Tommy Davis plays it off the wall, can't find it, and Hickman's on his way to second. He'll go in standing with a double as the throw goes to third base. Jim Hickman was turned loose on 3-0, and he belted it down the left field line. Down to the 330 side, it was off the wall, and Tommy Davis played it to third instead, so the Mets get the potential go-ahead run in scoring position at second base. 1 man out and Cliff Cook coming up. Cook had a single in the top half of the 4th. He is 1 for 4 and a walk in this game. And they're going to put him on with first base open. He is going to be intentionally walked. There is ball 1 outside. Ball 2 as Cliff Cook is being intentionally passed. Rod Keneal coming up next for the Mets. Here is ball 3 outside. And ball 4 as Cliff Cook goes down to first base with an intentional pass. Gives the Mets runners at first and second. Rod Keneal coming up. Ed Roebuck is now throwing in the bullpen for the Dodgers. Much earlier in the afternoon, we promised to get you to bed much earlier than 3:30, which is what happened in San Francisco. Feeling less sure of that all the time. However, the Mets want to try to get ahead right here if they can. 1 man out. Rod Keneal's a right-hand batter. The pitch is swung on. It's a ground ball to third. Wills has it. He goes to second to Oliver. He's out to throw to first. He's safe. Runners at first and third as Hickman moves on. They did not pull off the double play that time as they used the speed of Rod Keneal to beat the relay to first base. Got the middleman, Cliff Cook, on Keneal's ground ball to third. Cook going out from Maury Wills to Nate Oliver. So now, Choo-Choo Coleman is coming up. He's a left-hand batter going against a left-hand pitcher here. Been up 1 time and he grounded out short to first. And manager Walter Alston is running out of the dugout, out to the mound. There is a battery conference, and he wants in on it. He wants to know now just what the proposal is here. Moran is on deck. Choo-Choo Coleman is batting. Alston is talking to Roseborough and Baranowski. The infielders come down within range. They want to know what's going on. Umpire Frank Walsh goes out to join it. Senior umpire Jock O'Connell comes over and said, let's break it up. Alston turns, heads back to the dugout as they now have straightened themselves out on what the Dodgers' strategy will be in this circumstance. The score is tied, the Mets 2, the Dodgers 2, in the top half of the 13th inning. Choo-Choo Coleman steps in with runners at first and third. Good speed on the bases, Hickman at third, Keneal at first. And the pitch to Choo-Choo is in there for a called strike. He turned in taking as though he was going to try to drag it, but didn't offer, and it's a called strike. Coleman getting settled in the batter's box again. Now steps out, steps back in. Even with the bag at third is Maury Wills. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and there's a little looper to second base, and Oliver is there waiting, and he makes the catch for the out. Little pop by Choo-Choo. And in, top of the 13th, the Mets got no runs. One hit, the double by Hickman. No errors, one walk, and two left. At the end of 12 1/2 innings of play at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, it is the New York Mets 2 and the Dodgers 2. Well, why does the umpire at home plate keep moving around before every pitch? Well, to be sure he's in position to call the pitch right. You only need to make one move to be sure of the taste that's right in a filter cigarette. Just move over to Viceroy. Because Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now, here's what I mean. If you smoke all 7 leading filter brands, you'll find some taste too strong. You know, just like the unfiltered kind. And some taste too light. They take all the fun and flavor out of smoking. But Viceroy's not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. The next time you buy cigarettes, make the move to Viceroy in the familiar softback or new slide top case. Either way, Viceroy's got the taste that's right. So why not pick up a carton of Viceroy next time you're buying cigarettes? We'll be going to the bottom half of the 13th inning. Dodger fans have just been through the charge ritual, as you are doubtless aware, to an organ accompaniment. And Ron Fairley is up to lead off for the Dodgers as the heart of the Dodger batting order is coming up. The number 3, 4, and 5 men here in the bottom half of the 13th inning. Ken McKenzie dips into the windup. The pitch on the way is a breaking ball. It misses for ball 1. Ron Fairley swinging the bat. Swinging a ground ball to first base. It's a foul ball. Fielded by Cranepool. 1-1. New York Mets battling the second place Los Angeles Dodgers. You'll recall that the Dodgers moved out in front last year in the National League race. In August, looked as though they were a sure shot. Finished incredibly in a tie with the San Francisco Giants and then lost the playoff. Pitch is outside for ball. It's 2-1. Ken McKenzie getting a sign from Choo-Choo Coleman. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. And fairly all the way around on that one. It's 2-2. Larry Bernard continues to throw in the bullpen for the Mets. He's had a pretty full day down there. Here's 2-2 pitch. Swan, full foul on the ground. Down past Joe Becker, the Dodger coach at first base. Well, you must admit that the New York Mets have been giving a full measure of baseball action on this road trip. We're here in the bottom half of the 13th. McKenzie has a sign, and the 2-2 offering is outside for a ball. Tried the fastball. It's 3-2. The time on the scoreboard here at Dodger Stadium is 7:13 Pacific Daylight Time, and there's still plenty of daylight, although the lights have been on for a number of innings here. Lights were turned on at 5:21. They've been on almost 2 hours. It was an overcast day, generally cloudy. This is low and Fairley draws a walk. That is a very dangerous thing to do, to walk the leadoff man in the bottom half of the 13th inning. And here comes Tommy Davis up. 2 for 4 and a walk. He was intentionally walked. bottom half of the 11th inning when little Al Jackson pitched himself out of trouble. So the Dodgers get a runner on here with nobody out in the 13th. McKenzie is up and set. Pitch to the right-hand batter. Swung on and has a foul ball back at first. Carrying on over and into the stands as Cranesville gave it a run. Salahim is moving out to the front step to prevent him from coming into the dugout as the ball landed about 3 rows behind the Mets dugout. Strike one to Tommy Davis. Tough man in the clutch anytime. Knocked in the only run that was scored in the first game. Knocked in 1 run of the 2 that have been scored in this second game. Here's McKenzie's pitch, and he squares to bunt but takes high for ball. It's 1-1. Tommy Davis bluffing the bunt. Maybe he wasn't bluffing. Maybe he intended to lay it down. Dodgers, of course, would like to get fairly on over to second base some way. Big Frank Howard is kneeling on deck. The score is tied 2-2. McKenzie now comes set. Pitch, and he squares to bunt and does bunt down to third base line. A foul ball taken by Neal in foul territory. Runs the count to 1-2. Ron Fairley had moved all the way to second as Tommy Davis bunted that one down the third base line. The count is 1-2. Choo-Choo Coleman has gone to the mound for a conference with Ken McKenzie. These two teams have met twice previously. Once in New York and once here earlier today. Mets 1-1, the Dodgers 1-1. The pitch to Tommy Davis. Swung on and line to second. Hunt takes it, drops it, picks it up. Touches second, throws on to first, and he's safe at first base. Fairley is out on fourth. As Ron Hunt had the line drive in his hands and dropped it, picked it up, trying to get the double play. He played on over for the force to step on the bag, rather, and then played on over to first base. And it was very close, but Tommy Davis beats the relay. That's one away. Davis becomes the base runner at first. As Fairley is forced at second. And Frank Howard is up. The big fella who hits the 1-ton to left field in the 11th inning that Cook managed to haul down. He hit this one a country mile out into left field. It's going, and it's gone. Into the seats for a home run for Frank Howard. Over the 390-foot sign, and the Dodgers win it, getting 2 runs here in the bottom half of the 13th inning. Frank Howard leaned on that one. He hit it a good dozen rows up into the left field seats over the 390-foot sign. He is getting congratulations all around from everybody. And cushions are sailing onto the playing field and down into the lower seats all over Dodger Stadium. So the Dodgers have won the ball game. Keep in mind that the Mets will be back at the Polo Grounds on the 28th of May against the Cubs and on Memorial Day for a doubleheader against the Cubs. Tickets are now on sale. What a day of baseball at Dodger Stadium. We'll be back in a moment with a final summary and totals. Right now the final score of the game is the Dodgers 4